Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Tusk Talk with Ty Postgame show. Thanks for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And hey, I don't know, share the content, even though this is one of the most painful experiences I have that any of us have ever experienced since following Arkansas basketball. An ugly first half, followed by I don't know, it looked like Arkansas was getting their shit together in the second half. And it looked like Oklahoma was going to have to play catch up. A little bit of a back and forth. And then I don't know what the hell that last possession was with Nelly Davis. I don't know what it was. It looked like a nice backdoor cutter. They had it set up, and Oklahoma closed in nicely, but Nelly, I don't know if he was trying to draw a contact foul. I don't know what the hell that was. Yeah. Please consider subscribing to Tusk Talk with Ty Patreon if you want to come be a part of, all the fun that we have. I don't know. Join it. Come check out Discord. I don't know. Whatever. This is just stupid. This season, I mean, who would have thought coming out of November, trucking through November or December, beating Michigan on a neutral floor, pretty competitive against some decent teams, pretty decent record, good net rankings going into conference play, somewhat good, not great. Who the hell would have thought, and we've known this now, this isn't new, who the hell would have thought, though, by mid-January we would have already guessed Arkansas is not going to the tournament? I mean, man, I don't know. They did fight. I'm not going to say that Arkansas didn't fight. But Oklahoma was able to match Arkansas's physicality because Arkansas doesn't play with a whole lot of physicality. It got a little bloody tonight. A couple of Sooners getting a little banged up. But they were able to match, box guys out, be at the right place at the right time. A lot of mistakes, silly passing, weird, bizarre. It's like they don't know what the hell they're doing when they try to drive the lane. I don't know what their layup numbers were, but it felt like they couldn't, once again, shocker, they couldn't finish around the rim. Man, it was just, I mean, I'll say this, like I don't have like a team of writers. I don't have anyone, this is just me, right? And we've got to, like, we're working on, I want to push Arkansas basketball content, but who the hell wants to talk about this? I mean, I get it, man. There's all kinds of excuses you could make for Cal. And the fact that he walked in the locker room and there was no team and he had to build this team. You know what? But so many other people had to deal with this. And I want to know how many of these new coaches at new jobs are starting off as piss poor as Arkansas is. Granted, the SEC's good. The SEC's good. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Oklahoma's not a very good team. Georgia is a team that you beat, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I would put them in the tournament, but I'm not sure how far they go. And you had that game at home. You have to win these. The season's officially done. We knew that before this game. This season's over. It's done. It's done. We're done. It's done. It's the end of January, and there's no chance you're coming back. There's no chance. It's over already. Like, I get it. You had to build a team from scratch. But again, how many other programs had to do the same thing? I'm sure there's plenty of teams in a similar situation. The difference is they don't have a Hall of Fame basketball coach. the guy off to one of his worst seasons in his coaching history. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just, again, I'm going to keep saying it. I don't think he's fully vested into this program. I just don't. I've been saying this now for like 3 weeks. He's not fully vested into this. I'm not saying there's zero effort. I'm not saying he's not losing sleep at night. I'm sure he's concerned. I'm sure all that stuff. I'm sure he's pissed. I mean, I think he's pissed. I don't know. I can't really tell. He'll take about 3 whopping questions from the media in the postgame. I'm not even sure. Why does anyone watch the postgames anymore with him? Why do you listen to him? Like, he's not going to tell you shit. He's going to give you the same rigmarole, the same, we're juggling balls. I mean, you know, and listen, he did that at Kentucky. I watched his post games, okay? I'm not, this isn't anything new. I just expected a better product on the floor. Again, we said this 2 weeks ago, or last week, 2 weeks ago, just ride the season out. Year one's a wash. It's a wash. It's over. It's over, and it's been over. But it's over. Year one's a wash. All you can do is pick it up and see what the hell you can do. I mean, because the class he's putting together is good. The recruiting class he's putting together is typical John Calipari. You know, it's going to be a really good class, and I'm sure he's, you know, going to get some big pieces out of the portal that everybody wants. We'll just have to see what happens year 2. But this sucks. This sucks on so many levels because it's like, I guess I got to start getting prepared for baseball. And by the way, only about 15% of you give a shit about baseball on this channel. So, yeah, the lives are going to be a little bit, hell, I don't know. Now, if I had some writers and if I had people working with me, we could figure out what the shows are going to look like. But this is a one-man show, baby. I don't know. We're going to have to really figure this thing out. But basketball it's a disgrace. It's so bad. And again, I'm not telling you anything that you guys don't already know. It just sucks that, like, tonight, this was that opportunity. This was that game where you could build off of what you did against Georgia, carry a little bit of what momentum you gathered there into this game, build off of that, go to Rupp Arena next Saturday. You don't play all week. There's no midweek game. They're going to get the whole week off to get prepared to travel to Rupp Arena and just hope you don't get your ass kicked. The whole point was win tonight, position yourself to have a somewhat decent game against Kentucky, don't get blown out, and then ride out the rest of your season, and you're going to play better teams than Kentucky. But no more losing at home. It's done. We're just going to be here for the – of course, I'm going to keep doing post games. We're going to laugh and cry at this shit. It's embarrassing. And I think that's the other side of this is it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing the way they finished that game. Again, I don't know what the hell Nelly was doing. I don't know what that was. And I'm sure that's not what Cal wanted him to do. You know, he's pretty good at a TV timeouts. I mean, he's done a pretty good job, right? We did see some second half adjustments in this game. They played a lot better. We know they ended that first half again, just like they did against Georgia. I think it was an 11-2 run to end the first half. And it was like, oh, here we go. All right, it's going to be like Georgia all over again. They're going to ride this momentum into second half and into the second half, and they're going to find a way. And Oklahoma's just not that good. Listen, they won. I'm not going to – I know fans, I see you guys complaining about the officiating. It is what it is. I mean, look, guys, they're not much has changed over the years. I mean, SEC officiating is bad. There's no doubt about it, and I thought there were some silly 50-50 calls definitely on Arkansas tonight. I'll say this, and call me biased. I don't really give a shit. Of all the teams I've watched at home, while, yes, Arkansas does get some home cooking, it seems like of all the teams that I've watched play at home, Arkansas doesn't get the kind of home cooking these other schools do. It's so strange. And I don't know if that's just poor effort by Arkansas players not selling the contact fouls well enough. I don't know. They were, the officiating at home was worse when Muss was here because I think all the officials absolutely hated Musselman. Maybe they hate Cal. I don't know. But listen, everyone gets home cooking. Arkansas gets a little bit of home cooking, sure. But there were some weird moments tonight for sure that felt like it really helped keep the momentum in Oklahoma's favor. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not – listen, I don't think you lost this game because of officiating. I'm already expecting that stupid-ass comment I'm going to get after the live. You didn't lose because of officiating. Stop blaming officials. I'm not saying that. I'm not blaming this on officials. This was execution on the floor and the lack of it. I don't know. Man, it sucks, and you either just you got to cope with it. I guess I don't know. Joe Lindsay loves his own voice, doesn't he? Ty, he's a goon. We win this game with Boogie, yeah, and that's the other question. Like, how much is Arkansas missing Boogie? Clearly, God, you're talking about a big chunk of your scoring. He's your leading assist guy. He's your true point guard on the floor. He's one of the best freshman point guards, if not the best freshman point guard in the country. And you don't have that on the floor. I mean, it's another thing you have to overcome. It's another hurdle on top of Cal making a horrible decision to roll with 9 players. It's all biting you in the ass. This team can't stay healthy. And there's just no, again, we say it all the time, but where the hell is the chemistry on both ends of the floor with this team? It's non-existent, and it is disgusting, and I'm tired of watching it. Kelly Williams, thank you for the $2.99 super chat. Appreciate that. All right, here's the realist observation, says Ashton Wilson. Even when we play hard, truly hard, the most glaring problem is that 65 points just beat you. You couldn't score 66. Is the biggest lingering problem. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty accurate, Ashton. Yeah. The team that scores the most points does typically win. I agree with that. Justin McCollum says baseball is the best, no question about it. Yeah, I mean, the regular season, you expect Arkansas to be great. The question is, what are they going to do in the postseason, right? Can they get out of their own? Can they get out of a regional? The last 2 years, it's been their own regional they've failed to get out of, which is wild considering it's been at Baum. I mean, where you're supposed to host, right? You're the home team. Damn refs didn't help. They gave it to Oklahoma. I think this was so much more than officiating. It was not on officials. You put yourself in a position where you allowed those officials to make some questionable calls. Derek King says no chemistry. Couldn't agree more. Camo Gang says, would have been great for the guys to win tonight as far as effort. Love it. Just some dumbass mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Nelly at times, God bless America. I don't know what he's doing. What happened to Thero? That's a really good question. I don't know. Yeah. Hogs will be good until Omaha, says Derek King. Well, hell, the last 2 years they can't even get out of their own regional. And I mean, Bulldogs got a point. Yeah, I mean, there's at least 1 or 2 calls in this game that maybe it swings things a little bit. I didn't see that first foul. Arkansas fouled OU out in the perimeter twice, giving up 6 free throws. 6 free throws, man. Nelly can't dribble, visibly uncomfortable handling the rock. I've been saying this. His handles are weird. Which is not something you saw out of him last year when you watch his play at FAU. Our boy Thero might be 2020 for getting his shit smacked at the rim. No, and the way they ended that first half was like, here we go. I mean, it was a 9-0 run at one point. They don't do that very often because their half-court offense is atrocious. They don't go on these runs. You remember how we used to talk about fast break points? What the hell happened to those? And I'm talking about before Boogie. Even before Boogie got hurt. We were still wondering where that offense was starting to go. It was slowly, and I don't know if that was just because other teams are starting to full court press more. which we saw tonight. I don't know, but all of a sudden Arkansas just could not move up and down the floor on offense the way that they did throughout a lot of non-conference play. I mean, the magic number for Arkansas to get wins early on, you're talking November, December, was, you got to be at minimum 22, 24 fast break points. And, I don't know what they did tonight. I haven't actually looked at it, but it doesn't feel like they had a whole lot. Ban the Joker. Uh-oh. We got someone in chat. Yeah, Thero was playing. He was. Wagner is easily the best ball handler. I trust more than $1 million man handling the ball. Well, let's go over these numbers because it's something. Some of this is just once again, Arkansas is a sub 40% team from the floor, but we're going to start with Oklahoma. OU goes 21 of 51 tonight, 41% shooting from the floor, 7 of 21. Remember, they made all 7 threes in the first half. I thought they made one in the second half. They didn't make a single one. Because if memory serves, they were like 7 of their first 10 or something crazy. Or maybe it was 7 of their first 12. It was something really good. And then they ended on 7 of 21 at 33% because Arkansas was they were recovering quicker out in the perimeter defensively. Not all the time. Some of it was just OU missing shots. I mean, here's a big difference. We're going to sit here and talk about what hurts. I mean, they did out-rebound you, not by a large margin, but they out-rebound you by 6. They have one more offensive board than you, not a big difference there. But, I mean, they did shoot 16 to 20 at the free throw line. Now, Arkansas actually shot better, but, OU, a couple guys have struggled this year shooting at the free throw line. Godwin was 1 of 4. But Fears, and I said this in Discord, if they're going to get this going, it's going to either go through, I said it was going to go through Moore or it's going to go through Jeremiah Fears. And those guys, I mean, Moore had 13 points. Fears had 16 with 5 boards, 3 assists. I think that's the other part of this is that it's nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. DJ Wagner had a pretty decent game if you just talk about like just from a number standpoint, right? 5 assists is not bad. 5 assists, 13 points, 4 boards, and a steal, just 2 turnovers. A lot of minutes played tonight for him, 37. That's not a terrible night, but the offense is still stuck when you're talking about him leading you in assist, him basically at the point. The offense is stuck even more so than it was with Fland. And yeah, even with Fland, towards the end of Fland, before his injury, there were still like questions about the offense. But you could find ways to score. And if it wasn't Boogie turning it on, it was him feeding Thero. Thero didn't have a great night, but he did end up with 10 points, 5 boards, just 2 turnovers and a couple of steals. He shot 50% from the floor, 5 of 6 at the free throw line. They got 16 points from their bench, OU did. Glenn Taylor came off the bench, got him 8 points and 6 boards. He was nice. He was a nice piece off the bench for them. 23 minutes played, 2 assists. Yeah, Arkansas, I mean, I don't know. That last possession was just strange. And they had a couple of just bizarre head-scratching moments in the second half. And it felt like they had more than usual wasted possessions throughout this whole game on offense. And I know, like, they offensively, they have not been – it's not been clean. Clearly, they're not a high-scoring offense. I don't know what they are in SEC play. We'll have to do the math next week. And this is what sucks. Like, riding a 2-game SEC win streak, had you won tonight, you got all week to prepare for Kentucky. We get to talk about Kentucky all week and how excited, hey, maybe they're figuring it out. I don't know. I mean, of course, we're going to talk about this game. It's a big game, and not just Arkansas and Kentucky, not just from their standpoint, but, with Cal going back to Rupp, it's a big deal. He spent a long time at Kentucky, took him really far. Did a lot at Kentucky, clearly. And this is a big game. And right now, I don't think – I'm damn sure not doing a win and loss prediction for this game next weekend. So you can expect a who leads in rebounding kind of prediction next weekend because, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Kentucky probably blows Arkansas out. I think it's going to be like I don't know. Pope won't. Maybe he'll call off the dogs if it gets a little too out of hand. But I don't know. I don't like the matchup between Arkansas and Kentucky one bit. Like at all. Not just because of the record, just because of the style of play on floor. Wagner tonight was 5 of 12. So Arkansas ends up shooting 33%. Or excuse me, that was outside shooting. 37% from the floor. Big Z was 40%. He was 2 of 6 outside. He ended up with 10 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. He actually Big Z quietly, I should say quietly, but when's the last time this guy had 6 boards, 4 assists, 3 blocks, and 10 points? Shooting 40% from the floor is especially when you consider he took 6 outside shots. That's not bad. For a 7-footer, that's not half bad. Richmond, again, is, I don't know, love his hustle. I love what he could do at times on defense, but, man, that guy does not fit on offense at all right now. He's got to grow into it. Clearly, he's someone I want back next year. That guy's got to build his game. Brazil tonight had a couple good defensive moments, but overall just didn't have a big impact. I thought he had a block tonight. ESPN says he didn't. So Arkansas shoots 20 of 54, 37% shooting. Horrible. 9 of 27 outside. I'm going to give them, that's a lot of shots out. That's a lot of three-point shooting. And 33% at that volume, again, not atrocious, but it's not ideal. They're 13 of 16, another good night at the free throw line in terms of percentage, 81%. But John L. Davis, who it sucks for this guy because, yeah, he took a lot of shots, but this dude was hustling on both ends of the floor. I'm not sure that now again, maybe I missed it. I'm not sure I saw that guy get beat off the dribble. I thought he played really well defensively. He's not an elite defender, but I thought he played really well defensively. He ends up having the highest scoring night of his Razorback career. He also ends up with an offensive board. He's 5 of 6 at the free throw line, 3 total rebounds, 4 steals, and 18 points. Only to end it like that guy he can't play a complete game. He can't do it. That last possession, you got to give OU credit. They were at the right place at the right time, doing what they needed to do defensively to force that awkward situation for John L., but it's like he was lost and didn't know what to do. And it's like, man, what did you do at FAU last year? What the hell? Like, I feel like you should have been ready for that. Like, that's the moment. That's one of the reasons why he's here, to own that moment. Maybe, when you consider how highly recruited out of the portal he was, that was supposed to be his JD Notae moment. And instead, it looked like a blooper reel. And it sucks because, again, he had the best night of – hell, he'd be getting the gold chain tonight. Think about that. John L. Davis would have gotten the gold chain tonight had Arkansas won. Because no one – the closest, in terms of the stat sheet would be DJ Wagner. And even he was 5 of 12. Again, Nelly was 5 of 16. 3 of 11 outside. But he was good at the free throw line, 5 of 6. 3 boards. He was fighting for those rebounds. I hate it for him because, again, this is something else I mentioned in Discord. I said there's a reason why I'm putting Nelly on the thumbnail. Someone else in the media had said tonight, I forgot who it was, maybe Curtis Wilkerson said tonight was going to be the night Nelly was going to go off. I said, yeah, I agree. I've actually got him on my thumbnail. I agree. And he had a hell of a night. Unfortunately, I don't know. Didn't pan out there at the end. And it sucks because that moment is what everyone's going to talk about, was that last possession. And they're not going to talk about the success that he had during the game. And yeah, again, he had the one turnover that was, whatever, but or I thought he had 2 turnovers. Maybe that wasn't on him. He had, I swear, ESPN's got him down for 1, but I thought he had a couple. And there was one play where he just, it looked like it was just a bad pass and OU intercepted. Maybe that wasn't Nelly. I don't know. But Jonas Adu tonight, he only got 9 minutes. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I don't know what that was all about. Definitely would have expected Jonas Adu with more than 9 minutes. Adu Thero did kind of vanish for quite a bit in the second half, and it kind of felt like that was – and this is one of the reasons why I like this matchup for Nelly is because you knew they were going to try and – like Adu Thero was going to be the guy they're going to shut down. And when that happens, you got to have a couple other guys step up, DJ Wagner and Nelly Davis, and he took a lot of shots. I'm not in love with 16 attempts to just get 18 points. I'm not in love with that. But you got to give him credit for effort. 13 points from Arkansas's bench. I've seen flagrant fouls called with less contact than that last play. I don't know. I'm not going to debate whether that should have been a foul or not. The replay that I saw, I just think it was just a bad moment on his half. I don't think – I mean, it might have been a 50-50 call at best, and they decided to go on the other side. They decided to go with the other 50. And there were several of those tonight that were questionable, without a doubt. There were several, I think, 50-50 calls that felt like they definitely went in OU's favor. I mean, again, they had 20 shots. Arkansas hit with 14 fouls. Doesn't help when they get 6 free throw attempts just off 2 fouls. They did just enough. OU did to win this game. And again, another thing we all talked about. This is going to be how Arkansas is moving forward. If they're going to win these games, if they're going to be in these games, it's got to be gritty. It's going to be, physical. It's got to be old school basketball, gritty, down in the paint, it doesn't have to be down in the paint, but you're going to have to fight these games out, especially with about an 8-man rotation. You're going to have to fight these games out. And the other issue, and this is why going with 9 was such a mistake. When you go late in these games, I mean, the minutes tonight are insane. They're getting kind of crazy. You had almost 5 players in 30 minutes or more, and Thero and Carter Knox, John L. and DJ Wagner all getting around 37 minutes. Of course, again, I don't know what happened in the second half. I don't know if that was just a decision by Cal. Again, I don't know what was going on there. He was 50% from the floor, and he's 5 of 6 at the line. He ended up with 10 points, a couple steals, 5 boards. But I kind of would have expected him with about 35, 36 minutes in this game. You don't have the manpower. You don't have the depth. And I mean, again, I want someone to point to me on the Arkansas schedule. If you can't beat Georgia at home, Oklahoma at home, who I don't think is very good, you had to fight it out with Georgia, who's another. Yeah, they're going to make the tournament, but I'm not sure. Again, they're going to be a matchup-heavy team. You got to go to Kentucky. Now, Texas, I mean, you saw what happened today between them and A&M. I don't have faith that Arkansas is going to go there and win that game. Alabama at home, maybe LSU at home. You can get that one. You turn around at A&M, at Auburn. You're at home against Missouri. I don't like them against Missouri. Maybe because it's in Bud Walton. You've got Texas inside Bud Walton. God knows what – I mean, again, I'm going to give that one to Texas. At South Carolina, where really good teams are fighting it out in the final minutes to win inside that place. I might see one more win on the schedule. Maybe 2, 3 if you are damn lucky and you're fully healthy. Oh, you're going to be without Boogie, but no more injuries, right? Like I said, season's done. I mean, I catch a lot of criticism when I say that this early in the year because I seem to recall last year going down this way. About around this time, I think going into February, if I remember right, we were saying like this year's probably done. Let's just get prepared for next year. Here we are again. Considering that this is how competitive this league is, and this team wouldn't be competitive in the SEC from a decade ago. I'm not sure that team would have very many wins under their belt in conference play. From this year's team going back 10, 15 years in the SEC, when the SEC was, of the Power Fives, they were one of the bottom 2 basketball conferences. Maybe some other teams will get exposed along the way. I don't know. But it is really unfortunate. Dan says, not enough talent on this team to get 4 conference wins. Well, there's talent on this team, Dan. The problem is there's no depth. You don't have help. You don't even have minute guys. Guys you can bring off the bench and get you 8 to 10 quality minutes on the floor. You don't have those guys that you can just kind of rotate out depending on the matchup on the floor. You don't have that option. You are short-staffed, man. It's a damn shame because, this was we talked about how great the guards were going to be. When you look at the depth at guard, they got a couple of guys that could play the point. You got a couple of combo guards. You got maybe 2 or 3 two-way players on the floor that are good on both ends of the floor. Something Arkansas struggled with under Muss. Only a couple of years where he had more than a couple of guys on the floor that you could rely on to play great offense and to do their part on offense and then to play incredible defense. I don't know. Do you have any? Like, who's your great two-way player on the floor? Adu? Nelly was, again, this is his best game. It's so unfortunate that it ended the way that it did. Arkansas with 20 points in the paint, just 10 points off turnovers. 7 second chance points. Those all came in the second half. 4 fast break points. 6, once again, pure shit at the rim. 6 of 16. Now, that's not the worst we've seen. There's other teams that, sometimes they'll kind of, that's not unheard of. But, again, it's just not good enough. When you're not racking up points in the paint, whether it just be backdoor cuts, dunks, those little Big Z hooks, But when you can't finish a layup, when you can't finish around the rim more often, you're not racking up fast break points, you're not getting those second chance points, you're not getting to the free throw line enough. You need to get to the free throw line more tonight, and they just couldn't do it. You needed more than 16 attempts. You needed like 25, 26. They were, what was it? Was it 9 of 11 in the second half? Or 9 of 11 at the free throw line? That's great. Needed more. We'll have to talk about Kentucky this week. Maybe we're overreacting. Maybe Arkansas can go in there and make it competitive. I wouldn't bet on it. I definitely wouldn't put money on it. I'm really curious what that spread's going to look like. I'm going to guess it's probably Kentucky by 12 or something, 10.5. Maybe that's probably going to be more than that. I don't know. 13 bench points. Of course, that's because you don't have a bench. Yeah, John L. Davis tonight, 35 minutes. Carter Knox, 35 minutes. DJ Wagner, 37. Big Z almost with 37 minutes tonight, 27. Brazil got 17. Billy Richmond with 10 and Jonas Adu with 9. Brazil -6 in the plus-minus, and Adouthero -9 in the plus-minus. Oklahoma was able to get points in the paint. They got 28. 13 second chance points. Now, they were 9 of 20 on layups. They weren't much better. In fact, I thought Arkansas's defense around the rim throughout most of the game was actually pretty damn solid. They were getting blocks at the rim. It was pretty good defense around the rim for the most part. There were a couple times, I think, off a couple cutters and just blowing by a couple of guys, and that's going to happen. OU's got some scorers. They're pretty good offense, and when they're on, I mean, this is a team that can score into the 80s, that can do some damage. Arkansas, I think, defensively, again, was in the second half pretty strong. Not great, but pretty strong. But they've got to figure out what they're doing at the half court on offense. They just I don't know. On to baseball. This is hog wild. Yeah. Allen, I don't know. I'm not going to say your last name. I don't know if I don't know if you're a troll or not, Allen, but why don't we have a bench? Because Cal didn't build one. Cal thought it was a great idea to go with 9. Even with all the guards, with these high-level guards, thought it was a good idea to just go with 9. And then you run into injuries. It just is what it is. Yeah, Kentucky did lose today. Since Kentucky fans love to stroll through here and they want to talk, I don't know what they're – I mean, yeah, they got Arkansas, and I would definitely favor Kentucky to win that game next weekend. But also Auburn only beat Tennessee tonight 53-51. Alabama held on to beat LSU at home just 80-73. Florida curb stomped Georgia. I mean, again, Georgia's not great. They're 2-5 in SEC play, 89-59. Florida pollywomped those dudes. Vanderbilt over Kentucky at home. I knew this was a tricky game. Vanderbilt that's a tough place to win at sometimes. 74-69 was the final score there. Texas overcomes, what was it, a 22-point deficit against A&M? And they won 70-69. Mississippi State over South Carolina 65-60. That was in Columbia. That was at South Carolina. And then Missouri hangs on to beat number 16 Ole Miss 83-75. Grill with 25 points. Johnson for Texas had 30. I think that's the leading scorer of the SEC this weekend. So Oklahoma gets it done, 65-62. Again, we've already we'll just have to celebrate the couple of games they might win this year, and then just I don't know. Oh man, just show some fight next weekend, and then when you get Kentucky and Alabama out of the way, or excuse me, Kentucky, Texas, and Alabama, because you got to go to Texas, right? And no, Texas is not a strong team, but clearly they're capable. At no point do you get like 2 or 3 games where you feel like, oh yeah, no, those are all 3 within reach. At no point this year. I mean, much has changed in the SEC, right? You do end the year at home against Texas, at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt. I mean, again, we saw what happened there with Kentucky, and then Mississippi State at home. But there's no 3-game stretch like there used to be where you could be like, okay, that's within reach, that's within reach, that's within reach. Hell, you could go 4 or 5 some years. Like, these are all within reach. It's not the case. Even with Mike Anderson. Isn't that wild? Right now, I mean, listen to this. Kentucky right now, number 9. Now, that's obviously going to change. Alabama at 4. Texas A&M at 13. Auburn at 1. Missouri at 22. Now, of course, these numbers won't. That's their rank. These are not all going to stay. Like I said, Kentucky's going to drop, but those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your next 7. And while we say to ignore the rank, they're not completely meaningless at this point in the season. Does the football team win more conference games this year than the current basketball team? That's a good question. That's actually a really good question. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think so. Despite how tough those road games are going to be. I miss Mike Anderson, says James 1977. Nah, Nah. I mean, there were some, a couple of really fun years to watch, but bring back Nolan Richardson. I think that's going to be kind of hard to do. Yeah, I saw that. Tremont Mark hit the game winner for Texas. Yep, that was pretty incredible. That was a great shot. And there's nobody on this roster that I think could do that for Arkansas. Maybe a Thero. Maybe a do. I don't know. All right. Next week, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We do have some things to talk about. I do want to get back on high school recruiting for Arkansas next week, and we might get back into more football talk. Get prepared for baseball. I don't know. Maybe I'll reach out to someone, bring someone on to talk a little baseball. I don't know. Kentucky's struggling too, but Cal took 3 players with him from Kentucky plus 2 or 3 recruits. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Yep. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Hey, man, they do it all. 501-244-3667. Again, that's 501-244-3667. That's Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Free estimates, quality parts, better than best results. You guys ready for playoffs? You guys ready for the playoffs? Who you got? Playoffs? Playoffs? We're talking about practice. Got Buffalo and Kansas City coming up. That's tomorrow. Both these games are tomorrow, right? Or am I getting that messed up? Is it one before the other? The Chiefs tomorrow night playing against the very hated, the Bills playing the very hated Chiefs. The Chiefs have become the New England Patriots, and that's just so weird to say. But they have. They have become the New England Patriots. Like, in terms of just the hatred. In terms of the hatred. Here's the, this is BroThrow. If you guys haven't already, go lay down a bet, baby. Peer-to-peer sports betting over on BroThrow. The Bills at the Chiefs, that spread, I think this is down now, right? I might need to double check that. It's down to -2 for the Chiefs. You can go lay a bet down on the spread, the over-under. The Chiefs right now at -2, money line at -120, the over-under at 48.5. There's a lot of activity here. Join if you haven't using promo code TUSK. Let's see what Washington and Philadelphia looks like. -6. Okay, I wonder if that's moved as well. I feel like that was at like 7.5, was it not? The spread on that one at -6. The over-under at 47.5. Why not go sign up? You can use PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever I'm pretty sure just about all these apps. You could put them in you could save it to your profile, and if you win some cash, whoever you play will cash you out. This is not, again, it's peer-to-peer sports betting. -6. I don't know. Washington's kind of hot right now. But I myself, and this is not advice, I would probably take Philly. Even though I think the Rams should have beat them. Said what I said. Snow bailed them out. The snow bailed them out. Cal's postgame is lame. It always is. It always is. How many questions did he get in? 3? What, did they get about 3 questions? I seriously think Cal is just coasting. He should retire, but he wants to collect that money. He isn't hungry anymore. Hasn't been for the last 5 years, but this year and the 9-16 UK team were awful. Well, again, Rocky, I hear what you're saying. And we get Kentucky fans telling us this all the time. Except Kentucky finished where in the SEC the last couple of years? Where did they finish? Again, and I'm not going to disagree with much that a Kentucky fan tells me, except this area where you're like, oh, he just sucks. He's overrated. He's this and that. Great. Then explain what he did in the SEC the last couple of years. One bad year since 2020 in the regular season, off the top of my head. Now, please forgive me if I'm forgetting a year, but for the most part, been pretty damn good, has he not? The last couple of seasons in the regular season. Maybe he lost some games he shouldn't have lost because of some bonehead decisions. Now, March is a different story, and that's where we all agree. Yeah, we knew that. We were hoping this would re-energize him. He's got a new roster. He's brought some pieces back to his staff, and I don't know what to make of what's going on there. But this is not what was supposed to happen, right? No Kentucky fan was saying, at least not the ones that came to me. I'm not saying on Twitter or other Razorback shows or YouTube channels. I'm saying here, no Kentucky fan was telling us, you guys aren't going to win but maybe 2 conference games next year. No one said that. Everybody is surprised by this, and it sucks. It sucks. Kentucky, I think right now, definitely got the better end of the deal. It's a business, and Arkansas's taking the L right now, and it is what it is, and I think they're going to take another big one next weekend. Oh, God. It's going to be a miserable postgame. But if they do upset Kentucky, it's going to be a great postgame, but I don't see that happening. But again, I agree. I don't think he's hungry. I just don't think winning at the U of A, and I'm not saying that it's not on his list of things that he cares about. I just don't think it's number one. And I stand by that. And that doesn't mean that next year they're going to be bad too. No. He could still find success because he wants what's good for players. And if you say he's greedy and he just won't retire and so on and so forth, whatever. Arkansas could still benefit if he could build. Obviously, he's not going to go with 9. God willing, he doesn't go with just 9. Definitely not just 10. And let's hope he can build a good roster from the inside out. And yeah, hopefully you get some of these guys back from this team. And you build around whatever strengths that team's going to have. And they've got a couple of really good-looking freshmen coming in. That's going to be a really strong class. And that's where the fix is going to come in. And hopefully, again, you can convince some guys to stick around another year and try to build around some experience and guys that have some chemistry together, because that's what they definitely do not have. It rarely feels like, and again, I mean, especially on offense, it rarely feels like they've got 5 guys on the same page on any, consistent level. You're not seeing that every offensive possession. It's like every other second or third or fourth offensive possession, you'll see some chemistry where all five guys are flowing. They're moving around outside in the perimeter. They're cutting. Their screen is nice. The screen setups are great. The backdoor cutter is set up. The post play on point. The feeding of the rock down underneath. It's there. We've seen it at times, but then it goes away. And then we don't see it again. And then the execution's bad. And then it looks like coaching is bad. And then it just looks like this team has no identity because they don't. So they're going to have to build for next year. And let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't believe that winning at Arkansas is number one on his list of priorities. It might be number two. It might be number three. I don't know. The guy's, what is he, 60-something years old? I mean, it's hard to blame anybody when you reach a certain age that you don't have the same fire in your belly as you did maybe your first year at Kentucky or Memphis or whatever. That's natural, right? Now, Musselman, he's the anomaly, isn't he? Musselman will have that same energy until the day he dies. Probably still fighting with a referee as they're trying to bury him. That's morbid. I'm not saying that I wish for him to die or anything like that. I'm just making the point that Muss is feisty. Cal doesn't have that. And Cal is older. You wish he had that. You wish he had a little more fire. It doesn't seem like that. And maybe when he goes into the locker room, he's doing stuff we just don't see. But that that drive to win is not there in the way that it probably was. Well, we know it was his first several years at Kentucky. Hell, all the way up until like 2019, 2020. He was doing fine. And he still did fine these last several years in regular season play. But, yeah, I'm not saying there will never be success under Cal. Kentucky fans can say that. They can say whatever they want. He's not their coach anymore. Again, I understand to a degree their obsession because he was there for so long and he left under different terms while also kind of being pushed out, all that. We don't have to revisit that. I'm sure Kentucky fans will want to. I'm not going there, but I understand it. I know Hog fans were not excited. Even though they fired Houston Nutt, they did not like the fact that he went to Ole Miss. That sucked. And for several years there, that was a hardened rivalry. That's what it feels like right now between Arkansas and Kentucky. And it's already a good natural rivalry. And by the way, maybe Kentucky fans won't admit this, and maybe some will, and I know Arkansas fans will obviously agree with this. The SEC is a hell of a lot more fun when these two teams are fighting it out, when these two teams are at the top 3, top 4 in the conference. This league is so much more fun when Arkansas and Kentucky are competitive, and that rivalry it's still alive. It's not, this year it's not shit because Arkansas's sucking eggs during the regular season or during conference play, but it is so much more fun when Kentucky and Arkansas are they're on the same page and they're competing, fighting in the SEC championship, last second dunk by Qualls. I mean, there's nothing better than when these two teams are playing each other on the floor and they're both pretty good and we all know it. That's not going to be the case this year and it sucks. So hopefully again next year they'll figure it out. Anyway, shout out to BroThrow. One of the show's sponsors. Again, use promo code Tusk. I don't care what fan you are. If you're an Oklahoma fan, Kentucky, Arkansas State fan, I don't care. Go check out BroThrow. Go lay down a bet. Do some peer-to-peer betting. I don't know, man. I might crack open a couple of Modelo's tonight. We ought to do a spin or something. I need to wash this night. I need this out of my system, You are dreaming, Ty, says Andrew. Okay, Andrew, what am I dreaming about? What am I dreaming about, Andrew? I only want Thero back, says Chris Cox. Well, I don't know about all that. Thero is done with Cowboy. Andrew this guy just knows, doesn't he? What do you know about that? Because if something happened, I'd love to know. Wait a minute. Wait. Thero is done with Cal, Andrew says. And then he says, Adu will not be back, 100% guarantee. Okay, maybe not. Chiefs are so corrupt. You saw how they switched the officials. Did you see that? The NFL switched the officials. They brought on a crew, I guess, that doesn't have a great record winning, or the Chiefs don't have a great record of winning with. I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw someone post that on. It was like a TikTok video, and the guy was going over all the officials that are going to officiate that game. The next year will be better. I never said that, Andrew. I never said that it will be better. I said maybe it'll be better. See, you're telling me I'm dreaming, and you weren't even listening, my friend. You weren't even listening to what I was saying. I said maybe you can get some guys back, whoever that is, build off of that. Of course, they're going to go into the portal. You've got some really good-looking freshmen coming in, and let's see what happens. That's all I'm saying. I never said that they're going to be better next year. Semantics. Man, yeah. Semantics hurt. God. He's been yet in Q1 games last 5 years. He was under 35% at one time. Last year at every game. Oh, you're talking about quad. Quad 1 this year. Yeah, I appreciate the super chat, Travis. I'm just not really sure. He's been yet in quad 1 games last 5 years. I don't know, man. Try again. I don't know what the hell you're trying to say. I appreciate the super chat, though. Thank you. Y'all know it's just fun. I'm just having fun with y'all. Anyways, all right. Steve-O says Arkansas sports equals frustrating. I agree. They'll definitely do better next year. I hope so. Because Arkansas basketball must certainly seem like had brought Arkansas back out into the light. Like here, this is where the program should have been. While there were some pretty good years in the 2000s, not a lot of good years in the tournament. Didn't advance a whole lot for like a long time. Nolan's magic wore off in the late 90s. The game did kind of change a little bit there, and that's, and I guess maybe we didn't talk about that enough when they hired Mike, because we thought we were getting that system back, and Mike, then you had to build and build and build, and it took 2-3 years. I can remember Mike talking about that. And we wanted him so badly to be successful, and he couldn't do it. He just could not do it in March. Had some really good teams in the regular season, just couldn't do it in March. North Carolina got in his way a little bit. Had some great players, guys that were in the league for a while. He wasn't spitting out great talent. He missed out on the younger Monk brother, and he missed out on some other talent that left the state, and that's going to happen. Thought most of the time he underachieved in recruiting. A lot of people blamed his system and everything, but he just couldn't, and then Muss comes in and it's like, this is where this program should have been. 3 straight Sweet 16s, back-to-back Elite 8s, losing to some, or beating quad 1 teams in the tournament, or quad 1, sorry. Beating, first off, beating Kansas. I mean, great, unbelievable wins. 1 seeds, beating 1 seeds. It's like we're back, baby. Year 5 comes around. I think he was distracted. I think most of us agree he was distracted. Something just wasn't right with that team. Something wasn't right with Muss. We talked about in the postgame. Something felt weird. And then what happens? We hear about these rumors about him trying to get out of Dodge. I never bought into the Louisville one. I think Louisville was the first big one. And then SMU, and it's like, I'm not buying that. And now the more West Coast we go, the more concerned we got. And then USC opened up, and whatever happens, right? Or whatever happened. But you were hoping with that transition going from Muss to Cal, yeah, our expectations were too high. They were 110%. But again, let's hope that he can get this thing turned around in the offseason and put something special on the floor, a better product on the floor. Because, man, this year it's – God. Okay, Travis is giving it another shot. He's been bad in quad one games last 5 years. At one point last year, he was below a 35% win percentage in quad one games. This year, every game is in the SEC quad one. Yeah, I mean, you probably have a point. I don't know what his quad one record was, but I know this much though, Travis. He still finished really high in the SEC in terms of standings the last couple of years. So I mean, I don't disagree, and I don't know what his record was against quad one the last several years combined. But let's not sit here and act like the guy wasn't winning games in the regular season. That's all I'm saying. He wasn't near this bad certainly not the last couple of years at Kentucky. So, KL says defensively they're not bad, but the offense is horrendous. I couldn't agree more. They have their moments on the defensive end of the floor where it's like, they're forcing turnovers. Now they're not running teams desperate into the shot clock, like low into the shot clock, but they are. I mean, they got better. Not as many open shots in the first half. I mean, again, Kentucky hit all their threes. Well, all of their made threes were in the first half. Now they ended up 7 of whatever it was, 24. They adjusted nicely defensively. They just couldn't do it on offense. Muss caught lightning in a bottle for a few years, but can't say I miss his Dan Hurley-esque antics. Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison, actually. Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, he took it too far more than once, but most Razorback fans loved it. He showed fire, man. He showed fire. He did not like losing. Great X's and O's coach. Really Bobby Petrino type of coach when you're talking about attention to detail and catching things on film and adjusting as the season went up until last year. I mean, you can say it's lightning in a bottle. I think it was just really good coaching. You can call it lightning in a bottle. Maybe he'll never have that kind of success again. I don't know. Maybe he will at USC. Who knows? He's got the background to do it. I would most certainly, I'll just say it, I would prefer Muss a 6th year than what we're getting out of Cal right now. I certainly would. Said what I said. Even after what happened last year. Obviously, if he was really, the circumstances would change, right? He wouldn't be looking for another job. That would be that would show up. We would see that, like, he's doing it again, right? And maybe that would happen. He's distracted again. We're not going to win a bunch of games. But I think I would roll the dice for a 6th year versus just one SEC win, where we're at right now. Last year wasn't much better, though. It really wasn't. It certainly would have been cheaper. He would have saved the chicken man some money, wouldn't he? That's pretty good. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. All that money. Whew. All right, that is going to do it. Again, shout out to the sponsors. Please consider joining Patreon. It helps this channel out. I can't hire a team of writers. I don't work for any big website or recruiting site. It's just me, just your boy, running this channel, running the Discord with help by the awesome mods, by the way. Yeah, consider joining Patreon, man. It really does. It really helps out a lot. I try not to run ads while we're live. So, I'll be here thick or thin. You know I will. Every post game, every loss, every bonehead, final possession, final offensive possession, fumble. I'll be here. We'll be talking about it. We'll be laughing and crying together, I guess. But I will be back next week. Again, don't have a specific time. Just make sure you hit the like or the notification bell. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It warmed up a little bit at least. It wasn't 25 degrees all day, so there's that. There's your bit of good news. So, yeah, you guys have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you at some point next week.